Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Hey everybody, Ezra Levant here. How you doing? Welcome to the daily live stream. I understand we are live on Rumble. We are live on the disgraced liberal censorship platform called YouTube after being suspended a week ago. Now, I don't think we're on Odyssey right now, are we, Ephron? No. Are we going to try and get on Odyssey? Because I like those guys. And if it's possible to add them in, even though we're live now, I'd like to do that. Thanks very much. I don't mean to throw you for a loop there. We have been, and by the way, you can see that we've got a new background behind me. There's, well, that's me with a megaphone. That's Sheila. That's Adam Sos, who's just joined our team from Calgary. That's Catherine Kay, who just joined our team in Toronto. There's Avi Yamini. Who's behind me right there? I'm not sure if you can see who's right behind me. There's Drea Humphrey. There's David Menzies. And is there anyone behind my chair there? No. Anyway, so we got a new background there. So many new things going on. And yeah, I'm happy to be back. And I want to show you something. And Ephron, if you're still working on Odyssey, focus on that, because I'd love to get on Odyssey today too. And I'll call for Viz later. So why not take 5 minutes and see if you can get us plugged in. Are you able to do that? Okay. Ephron thinks he doesn't think we can get live on Odyssey because we're live already. All right. We're still figuring things out. And Ephron's doing a great job here, but running the live stream is not his forte. That's normally Justin's job, but Justin's taking a well-deserved vacation. So Ephron, thanks for doing things being thrown into the mix. So apologize to our folks who are coming to look forward to watching us on Odyssey. I really like those guys, and so we'll figure it out. We're still getting used to things. But let me tell you something that I'm observing on my laptop. As you know, I talk for about an hour. I take questions, chats from folks. It's a little bit of stream of consciousness, but we also have a few clips and stuff ready to go. But over the last week, one of the things that's been on our mind, besides the news of the world, is the news that's happening to us, namely that YouTube, without warning, notice, appeal, or reasonable explanation, simply suspended us for a week. They dug up some old video from months ago and claimed it violated a policy, which it clearly did not. And I know that because they said we showed a Trump video we weren't allowed to show, but we weren't showing it to promote it. We were showing it to talk about how it had been banned. And I showed to YouTube that CNN and ABC, Wall Street Journal, all these mainstream media companies had the exact same Trump clip on their YouTube channel, and they weren't suspended. It's just a fig leaf. It was just a cover for the fact they want to demonetize Rebel News, suspend us, and eventually cancel us. So they've done step one, they demonetized us, which is why we don't have any more super chats. Step two, they suspended us for a week. Step three will be a 2-week suspension, then step four is we're gone. And I expect those to happen at any time. But in the week we've been off YouTube, we started live streaming on rumble.com and odyssey.com. Now, we couldn't get hooked up to Odyssey today. But what's so fascinating is that right now I have on my screen both live streams. And the YouTube live stream right now has 815 people watching. Is that what you have there, Ephron? But on Rumble, I see 1,428 people watching. So that's almost double as many people watching on Rumble than on YouTube. And I know that on Wednesday when I was last year, we had up to 800 on Odyssey, right? And that was our first real go on Odyssey. So how is it? Riddle me this. How is it that we have 1.45 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. So I'm not just talking about casual people who just see a video and go. I'm talking about people who click and say, yeah, I like this, subscribe, keep me posted, want to see it, I love it. How can we have 1.45 million people clicking subscribe and yet only 896 are watching? That's less than 1 in 1,000. Now you might say, Ezra, it's because you're a blowhard. No one wants to hear you. You just talk about things no one cares about. You're very unentertaining. You have a face for radio. They might say all these things, all of which are generally true, but I'm talking about the 1.45 million people in the world who said, no, I like that stuff. I'm going to subscribe. You got 7.5 billion people in the world. You got, I don't know how many people use YouTube, billions. And there is a niche of 1.45 million people who, there's no accounting for taste. They like Rebel News. Are you telling me that fewer than 1 in 1,000 people who said they like Rebel News want to watch a Rebel News live stream? Obviously, that's not accurate. Obviously, that is YouTube putting their thumb on the scale, throttling us, de-boosting us. And I didn't really think about that. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I didn't think about it for years. Until we were suspended. And now, like right now, 975 folks on YouTube, 1,688 on Rumble, and if we were on Odyssey, I'd bet we'd have 800 there too. And we only have like 20,000 subscribers on Rumble. That's the difference between being censored by YouTube and not. I'm certain that YouTube aims to completely cancel us within weeks. So that's why we have a new pop-up on our website asking people, if you're watching us and don't have some direct connection with us, you got to get that direct connection, because the thing about YouTube is they don't tell us who the 1.45 million subscribers are. So they're getting in the way between us and our viewers, and if they delete us, we don't know how to find you. You might be able to find us. We'll never be able to find you. So if you have a moment, if you go to rebelnews.com, it's just a little pop-up. Can you show folks what it looks like? It's just a little pop-up, and it takes like 5 seconds. Just give us your mobile number. Yeah, you see that little pop-up at the bottom, don't get censored. Big Tech, can you pump that size up a little bit? Big Tech is censoring conservative and independent media. Sign up so we can always stay in touch. I don't know if A10's watching. Can we change it to Big Tech is censoring us? It's just too wordy. Big Tech is censoring us. Sign up so we can always stay in touch. Yeah, and it just takes a second to type in, right? And then you click sign up and boom, that pop-up doesn't show again. Thanks. So enough talk about us. Although I say again, right now we have double the viewers on Rumble that we do on YouTube, and if we had Odyssey going today, we'd have probably 1,000 there too. All right, enough talk about us, other than one quick note to say, we have sort of a homemade super chat. You see that pinned comment in the YouTube chat box, that pinned comment? Send a comment to read out on air, and if you click that, I don't know if you want to show folks what happens when you click that. You're taking the Streamlabs, and it's really easy to figure out. Just put in your name, type a dollar amount, type in your message, whatever it is, give your credit card info, and Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. And unlike YouTube Super Chat, where Google takes 30%, we actually get all the dough here, so that's just super duper. Okay, you know what? I got 5 things I want to talk to you about today. Enough talk about us. Okay, let's talk about the world. Number 1. Joe Biden. He's on a conference call with some of the leaders of the world's most powerful countries. Got Russia on there, Vladimir Putin. You got China on there, Xi Jinping. You got Canada on the list because I guess we're still, we're falling, but we're still an important country. And everyone's on their video call. So it's a video call. It's like a Zoom call. It's what we're doing here. And it's just a PR thing for global warming or whatever. Can you put that picture of the screenshot on? Yeah, put it up on the screen. So there's Vladimir Putin in the middle. And I can see the UK in the bottom left. That's not Boris Johnson, it's someone else. And you got Angela Merkel, you see that? That's the lady in purple on the left. You got Xi Jinping. Mexico, I think that might be their president. I don't know who's the top left there. Republic of Korea, I think that's what that is. Canada, there's Trudeau. The European president, that's a thing. Denmark, Another European there. You got Vietnam, Norway, Italy, France, Turkey. I think that's Erdogan. But go back up to America there on the right-hand side. You know that child's game, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things is not the same. You ever hear that song on Sesame Street? Who's the one idiot wearing the mask? You're on a Zoom call, buddy. Maybe he's heard of computer viruses. Maybe he doesn't want to get a computer virus. Should I be wearing a condom? I don't want to get a computer virus. He's wearing a mask on a Zoom call. And that's not even all of it, Efron. He was already vaccinated. He was vaccinated months ago. Well, you can never be too careful. I hear these computers, they got their viruses, you know. What does that say to the world? Like no one else, I mean, believe me, these other countries, there are some bad dudes there. I mean, that guy in the middle there, Vladimir Putin, he is authoritarian. China on the left, probably the most menacing person in the world, Xi Jinping. Beneath him, an authoritarian bully named Angela Merkel. These are some rough customers. And what's the image we project? Look at Putin. I mean, that flag, first of all, is gorgeous. But he looks powerful, doesn't he? What, you know, good or evil, he looks powerful. Everyone else is projecting power. Maybe not Trudeau so much. But at least, and look at the flags. Look at the countries with the flags. Just start on the left. You got Mexico, China, Germany. Those are all flags. I don't know what that is behind the UK guy. You got Turkey. You got two flags there. France has some white flag of surrender. I'm sure that's an accident. Italy looks like they got their flag and the EU flag. Norway's got their flag. Vietnam's got their flag. Other than the European in the top right, the only guy without a flag is the American. Do you notice that, Efron? So what message are these countries sending? I don't even care what the subject is. I'm talking about body language. I'm talking about nonverbal communication. I'm talking about look and feel. Vladimir Putin looks like he's in command. Justin Trudeau's playing Pokemon. I don't know what happened to France. I think they heard like a muffler backfire and they surrendered or something. I don't know. That white flag, I'm pretty sure the French flag is red, white, and blue. I don't know what that white flag is. All right, I just find that, the lack of flags is interesting to me, but why are you wearing a mask? What does that say to the world? These things matter. These, it was before you were born, Efron, but one of the things that happened very early when Ronald Reagan was president was the air traffic controllers of the United States went on strike, and it was an illegal strike. You can imagine air traffic controllers going on strike. That's crazy, right? Like it's dangerous. You would have countless deaths. He ordered them back to work, and they were testing the new president, and they refused. And you know what he did? He fired them all. Okay, well, how are you going to run the airports? He brought in the military air traffic controllers because of course, Air Force bases, they have air traffic controllers. He stared them down. He said, I'll negotiate over terms, but you're not going to have an illegal strike and paralyze the country. It's maybe something Jimmy Carter would do. So very early, showdown with the unions. They want an illegal strike. He fired them all. And that incident, it didn't just affect the air traffic control crisis. The Soviets saw that. And after the fall of the Berlin Wall, after 1989, when there was a liberalization, it came out how important that moment was in how the Soviets were dealing with America. Because they realized this guy wasn't just a bluffer, Ronald Reagan, and he wasn't just a pushover, and that he would hold the line. And later, I don't know if, my history is too accurate about the exact timing. They had a summit, I think it was in Reykjavik or something, and the Russians, the Soviets, knew they had a different customer on their hands than Jimmy Carter, and indeed so it was. Ronald Reagan called out the Soviet Union, called it the evil empire, said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, worked with Margaret Thatcher and Pope John Paul II, and shortly after his second term, indeed the Berlin Wall did fall. So image and strength and reputation, that's Donald Trump. You love him or hate him, that guy, you wouldn't pull a trick on Trump if you were a foreign country, because that guy wouldn't have that image of weakness. All right, I wanted to show that Biden mask. I am going to read the super chats. If you don't know how to figure it out, just click on that link there. By the way, let me give you an update. We got 1,400 people watching on YouTube. We got 2,400 people watching on Rumble. And I say to my friends at Odyssey, we will be back there, and I'm sorry we don't have you. We're still learning. You know, it's wonderful to learn new things every day, Efron. Am I right? The world's just amazing. All right, I want to show you some research I did today, because Quebec's just gone crazy. And we got some clips from our friend Yankee, who goes out to document the curfew. So they're really strict with the curfew. Like, they got a nightly curfew in Montreal. I think it kicks in at 8 p.m. I don't even think the sun sets at 8 p.m. I think that's still dusk out there. Imagine that. It's beautiful spring. Montreal, you ever been to Montreal in the spring? I guess we were just there together a couple weeks ago. It is so pretty because there's a lot of old architecture there, and you got the Hill, and you got McGill, and they got these wonderful parks. And of course, the Montrealers, they care about fashion more than Torontonians. I think they're the most fashionable province in the country, and Montreal's the most fashionable city. And they just look good. And it's sort of cool, and you know, it's that French vibe, right? And in the before times, there'd be cafes and restaurants and bars and bistros and patios. A little touch of, if you've ever been to Paris, you know, everyone's on that patio culture. You know, what I love about the patios in Paris is all the chairs face out, all of them. So it's like the street is the theater that everyone's gathered to watch. You got a touch of that in Montreal. Imagine putting such a wonderful city as Montreal under a nightly curfew. What are you doing? In the spring, young people, and they're not allowed to play sports, and they're not allowed to go to the gym. What are you doing? Well, I checked this morning the stats in Quebec. Can you go to my tweet? It's my pinned tweet. I did a little research, and I only went to one place, the Quebec government's own website. I went and I got their official stats. Call up my tweet this morning. I want to show you the madness. The province of Quebec, 8.6 million people, is under North America's worst lockdown, including a nightly curfew. But why? Take a look at the graph of deaths from the virus since it began last year. And scroll down a little bit. Yeah, and can you click on it to pump it up? That's good enough there. Yeah, perfect. You know, actually go back just for one more second to my tweet. Sorry, I hustled you there a little bit. Just click back for 1 second. I was just going to show. Oh, it doesn't matter. Scroll down. I got ahead of myself there. I just wanted to show. Can you put my tweet up again? You see that graph there? Deaths. Date of death. So you see that big wave. That was the first wave. That was April 2019. That's the one on the left, if you can highlight that with your cursor. And then you had a second wave in the fall and the new year. And that red arrow is where we are now. That's deaths related COVID-19. And you did click on the link that was my source for this. Why is the curfew there? I mean, I don't believe that curfews make any sense whatsoever. The virus doesn't spread in the main outdoors. It's an indoor transmission risk. The virus overwhelmingly targets old people in nursing homes. About 80% of the death toll is in long-term care facilities. The virus targets super fat people and people with underlying sickness is not people who are going to be out and about, not young people out for a stroll, not young people out playing soccer or whatever. So why are you bringing a curfew in anyways? But even if you were going to bring it in, I dispute that that has any scientific basis. Why would you have the curfew now when the death toll is a fraction of what it's been in the, there's no sense to it. Now this video, this next video, this is what the headline of today's show is. Let me give you an update. We got 1,547 people watching on YouTube. We got 2,540 watching on Rumble. Doesn't that tell the story there? That tells the story. That, you know what, YouTube, censorious, liberal, hilarious. You know that clip we had yesterday about YouTube giving itself a free speech award? Can you find that? I just want to show people, because we put it in my show yesterday, but one of the funniest things, you know, I don't know, do they allow Valentine's Day in school these days, or is it considered sexist or hurt feelings-ish? When I was a kid, and I'm talking in the 20th century, Valentine's Day was a thing. And when you're really young, you don't really know what it means because you're not of the age of maturity. So like if you're 6 or 7 or 8 years old, you really don't know what Valentine's Day means. You probably still think girl germs or whatever. So really it's just an opportunity to be stressed out about something you don't quite understand and feel marginalized and unpopular or craving approval or something. I don't know. I remember when I was in grade 8 and the boys had to collect the little hearts from the girls. It was like, how many hearts, little paper hearts could you collect? What a terrible thing to do. That was in grade 8. What a terrible thing to do to, I think we were all 12 or 13. Hey boys, see how many hearts you can collect from girls. And we're going to all count. And this was like an official school thing. And then you would count who had the most and who had the least. What are you doing? Like that's turning it into a bullying day. That's a true story. But you know, it was sort of my first political campaign. And so I had sort of a campaign patter of why the girls should give me the little hearts. And I won. I actually won. Not because I was the most attractive, although it was called the Mr. Irresistible contest. Grade 8, I won it. Just that's a fact. But it was really a political campaign because I had to tell the girls one at a time why they should give it to me instead of my chief rival, and I campaigned dirty. So it's not so much that I was selling myself, I was just really talking down my opponent. And I'm not even going to say who it was now because we're friends. And if he knew what I said about him back in grade 7 or 8, he might not be my friend anymore, but I had to win. Anyways, the only thing worse than that, and it probably comes from that kids who were scarred about, well, I didn't get a Valentine's Day card, is if you send yourself flowers on Valentine's Day. Oh, someone sent me flowers. Oh, I have a secret admirer. Who is that? Well, the receipt said you bought it for yourself. Now, you can buy yourself flowers. I'm not saying there's no rule against buying yourself. If you like flowers, buy flowers. If you like chocolates, buy chocolates, right? I'm saying don't pretend that it's from a secret admirer if you sent it yourself. That's the decision. Buy flowers. Buy chocolate. Make yourself feel good. But don't pretend you have a secret admirer if you send yourself flowers. Let me show you Susan Wojcicki. I think I'm saying that right, the president of YouTube. She sent herself flowers. Take a listen to this. Just give it just a minute of this. Oh, there's no audio, that's just B-roll. Can we find it? Just because it's so funny. Yeah, 2021 Free Expression Awards highlight, Susan Wojcicki. Can you actually pull this up? Oh, you don't have the audio on it? Well, let me. Right, yeah. Okay, so let me tell you what you're looking at here. You can see that this is a YouTube channel called Freedom Forum, and you can see this was put up just a few days ago. And you can see it says 2021 Free Expression Awards highlight Susan Wojcicki. She's the president of YouTube. And you can see at the top left it says Free Expression Awards. And you can see, and what gets me about her is she's an uptalker And I don't know how she did it, to become a president of a huge company, and she talks like a valley girl. I don't know, like that's not a speech impediment. It's not a disability. It's a learned thing. And I've just never seen it in a CEO before. Like I've seen it in reality TV, like Paris Hilton. I've seen, well, go fry. But how do you get to be a CEO and be an uptalker? I just have never seen it before. But that's not what's interesting to me. Do you see the likes to dislikes ratio there? I don't know if you can zoom in. In the bottom there, 116 whole people like this video. 116. By the way, the live stream we're on right now has 821 likes. And you see how many people dislike it? 31,000. 31,000. And why is that? Why would I've never seen a ratio like that. Have you ever in your life? There was that one girl who made the song Saturday Night or Friday Night, and it was like the worst pop song ever. But at least she was trying. Why did this up-talking CEO get such a bad ratio? I'm going to tell you a secret, Efron. It's because she paid for this. Can you go to the Freedom Forum Institute website? I had never heard of the Freedom Forum. Like I know what the ACLU is. I know what Reporters Without Borders. I know what PEN International is. I know what Amnesty International is. I know something for the protection of CPJ, something for the Committee for the Protection of Journalists. In Canada, we have the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. We have the Canadian Association. There's a Columbia Review of Journal. I think I could probably list for you 20. There's Liberty UK. There's the Free Speech Union. I could probably name for you 20 free speech NGOs. I think that's a lot. I mean, could you name more? Because I follow it, because we're always in a pickle. I had never heard of this group before. But take a look at the website. Freedom Forum Institute. Corporate giving. Zoom in a little bit here. We work to facilitate and strengthen strategic partnerships with local and national companies. Oh, I thought you were about free speech. No. The generosity of these partners enables us to bring an understanding and blah, blah, blah. Look at this. We're happy, the next sentence. We're happy to help corporations explore the ways that they can leverage their resources, that means money, Efron, and create positive buzz around their brand through a relationship with the Freedom Forum. Program and special sponsorships. Customized sponsorship packages are available. Can you go to the part where you see what YouTube gave them what? Yeah, right. Just underneath, a little bit down, a little bit down. There it is. YouTube paid for their secret admirer Valentine's Day flowers. I say again, if you want to stand up and say, I believe I'm the freest free speech Nick in the world, okay, go ahead and say it. We know who you are. We'll be the judge of that. If YouTube stood up and said, we believe in free speech, I think a lot of people would laugh. And I think they know that, which is why they paid. This is sort of like stolen valor, like wearing military medals that you did not earn in battle. But I had never heard of this free speech group before. I tell you, I pay attention to free speech. I follow a bunch of UK free speech groups, because there's a lot of battles there. I follow some civil liberties groups in America. I follow them in Canada. I even follow them in Australia. I look at the pages of Amnesty, of Freedom House. I mean, I think I probably spend more time looking at free speech issues than your average bear. I tell you, I had never heard of this group before until I see this corporate style infomercial video. And I had never heard of them before. And I think, you're giving Susan Wojcicki a Free Expression Award? It's sort of like The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen. Can you grab me The Dictator and just an image of the star of that? You know that movie he did about 10 years ago, 5 years? It's not a great movie, although there was some really funny lines. Just a Google image of The Dictator, Sacha Baron Cohen. Susan Wojcicki, if she were to stand up and say, I am the bestest free speech supporter in the world, everyone would laugh. So she hired this group for, I don't know how many $100,000. Yeah, go ahead, put it up. That's not bad, but can I get a picture to show all of his medals? What I really want to show is all of his medals. Yeah, just show me the Google search together. Like, just go to Google Images and just type The Dictator. Because he's got, yeah, like any one of those ones nearer to the bottom where he's got like a gazillion medals. And the funniest thing is, you know what his title was in this movie? Admiral General. Remember that? Because it wasn't enough for him to be an admiral or a general. He was, yeah, that was just, I mean, that's a good one. Admiral General. That's a lot of medals. You know what? Actually, it's not even that funny. Can you type in Leonid Brezhnev, Leonid, just in Google image search. Leonid, Leonid, Brezhnev, Brezhnev, medals. Because Leonid Brezhnev was one of the last tyrants of the Soviet Union. And I don't know if he even served in the war. He probably did. Every young man was pressed into the Red Army in the Second World War. All right, none of them are standing out particularly, but some of these Russians would wear so many medals. Yeah, look, yeah, is that real? Is that a real picture of him? With like 200 medals. Admiral General. Are you an admiral or a general? Because those are pretty different things. One's on water, one's on land. One's all like boats and stuff, and one's like, so I'm both. How should I refer to you? You know, I know a fellow who demands to be called Dr. Professor, because he's both a doctor and a professor, and he says, I'm not going to say his last name because he's a good guy, but boy, he loves those titles, Dr. Professor. Susan Wojcicki of YouTube, she wants to be called Admiral General. The Admiral General of the free speech movement. She's so amazing at free speechiness that she paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to have some unknown group tell her she's super duper awesome. Oh, Lord thundering. Okay. Let's take a quick super chat break. They're not really super chats, some of them may be, but we got these other. Let me read them, and then I want to show you the real story of the day. And when we come back, I want to show those cops fighting with each other. I tell you, I'm just going to read some super chats now. But folks, incredible video. Randy Hillier posted it to the internet. I don't know if he actually filmed it. Cops trying to arrest cops. When was the last time you saw that? Have you ever seen that? Cops arresting cops? Other than some sort of like internal affairs, some take out some, like on the street, cops trying to arrest cops, and cops refusing to be arrested, and cops saying, what's your badge number? What's your badge number? I know your chief. I know your chief. It's a crazy exchange. I'll call your chief. Oh yeah? I'll give you his phone number. Oh yeah? Who's your chief? My chief is chiefier than your chief. In fact, let's go to it right now. Let's go to it right now. It's about a 3-minute clip. It takes a while to get going. And I started watching this last night, and I didn't know these were cops. I knew one guy was a cop because he's in uniform. Everyone you're about to see is a cop. And I didn't know that when I started watching. I was thinking, okay, so it's just a usual squabble over these lockdown laws. No. The protesters were cops too. Let's start playing. I might interrupt if there's something I want to say, but watch this knowing that it's crazy cop on cop action. Take a look.
How should I be seeing that?
You're harassing people.
Really?
Yes.
I'm enforcing the rules.
You're breaking the charter.
Really?
Yeah, did you swear an oath to the charter like I did?
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Go away.
Offensive and
You can leave. You're not supposed to.
I'm here.
unprofessional, threatening me, for one. For two, you did.
Absolutely.
What authority do you have to go to I got a complaint that there's a contravention under the reopening of private property. Absolutely. You walk in my house. You walk into my house. Without a warrant? Walk right in. Without a warrant? It's all private property.
No censor.
Okay, it's private property. You guys enter onto private property. Yes, it is private property.
Okay, well, you know what? Court is the venue to deal with it.
Yeah.
Court is the
we'll
venue to
see.
deal with it.
Absolutely. I've been going.
Okay, good.
And you know what? You know what, officer? You're on a church parking lot.
Right.
How do you sleep at night? Well,
I sleep well,
good.
yeah.
I've been an officer for over 2 decades.
Right.
And I would never
Thank you. Yeah.
put on a uniform and behave the way you do in a place of religion and talk to people the way you two do. It's an ego
I have to
thing.
value
I
your
would
opinion
never.
to hear what you're
I would never speak to a member of the public. You guys are engaged with ego. With ego. With ego. I expect you to be professional. You went from 0 to 100. Where's your tax documentation? You clearly have no TACCOM, right? When you got to go to authority first in an autocratic way, your gift of communication sucks. Sorry to tell you that.
It's incredible. They just come onto the parking lot. They feel they can do whatever they want, harassing people. It's incredible.
This is not how officers of the law behave over 2 decades.
You two have
Okay?
identified yourself.
Never.
Here. You've identified yourself as police officers here,
Yeah.
and you're breaking the law.
You're breaking the law.
You're breaking the law. You don't know your authority.
Unreal, man.
You don't know
You're
your
the one breaking our
authority.
charter, and you're telling me that I broke the law? You're a joke.
You don't even know what the Charter of Rights and Freedoms are.
You swore an oath, and now you're just tearing it up.
Bill of Rights, Charter of Rights and Freedom.
You trespass on
You
private
guys are a
property.
joke.
No, we don't.
You're trespassing.
At least own that. At least own that. Don't lie.
I hope you sleep well tonight. Yeah.
I will.
I'm sure you will.
What
You think you
authority?
did a good thing
I
today.
can't wait to speak to your chief.
I can't wait either. Would you like his number?
I already know who he is.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Are any of you skulking in the woods like last time?
Yeah. Dropping your phones.
It's none of our business.
Unlawfully placed, no search warrant,
right.
no judicial authorization.
okay. Officer, we will be
entering
taking your
religious
badge number as well.
property, harassing patrons
your
on
badge
private
number?
property.
What's your badge number, officer?
What's your badge
What's
number,
your badge
officer?
number, officer?
Your
Your name.
name? I've asked you your name, officer.
I've asked you.
It's a professional courtesy. You've asked
You have my
name,
information.
I've given it to you. Professional courtesy.
Homer Police has a rule don't identify
You're not going to
themselves.
identify yourself as a police officer?
You are a disgrace.
Where
to
do
the
we
uniform.
work?
He's swearing.
These people, where
Amazing.
where's they go?
And he won't identify himself.
Not the same
And he won't
place
identify
I
his
did.
badge
No,
number.
apparently
The
not.
officer will not even identify himself or provide a badge number as per the
ran
Police
away.
Services Act. He ran away. He ran away.
On camera. On camera.
Are these the only 2 officers in Elmer?
Whoa. Whoa.
They're all writing us fake tickets. They'll never go anywhere in court, which they know. Just harassing people. Just harassing people.
On
One in the
private
street.
property. Let me see your complaint. I can't wait to see the complaint. When I do that after.
Both sides of that were cops. Did you pick that up? It took me a couple, I was watching that, I was thinking, okay, what's going on here? Someone sent that to me and said, check this out, and I did. And I said, okay, so it's another altercation at another church. Yeah, that's Canada. It wasn't until I was halfway through that I realized both sides of that were cops. So who could they both arrest each other? One guy was saying you're breaking the law by being at a church. The other side was saying you're breaking the law by coming on a church property to tell me I'm breaking the law to be here. And then the anti-lockdown cop said, what's your badge number? And most police forces of which I'm familiar have an obligation, with few exceptions, to give their name and badge number. And by the way, that applies to private security too. Most private security laws, like for example, to be a security guard in every province is a regulated thing. You're required to have a license and to provide that license on demand. Or else you're just not being a security guard. If you're not in uniform, unless you're like an anti-shoplifting security guard, you have to wear a uniform and or a badge and with your name and show your license. So this cop, I mean, but what it shows, I mean, obviously I'm on the side of the freedom cops there, the get off this property without a search warrant cops, the what the hell are you doing coming into a church side of that debate there. But both, I think, are cops. And they don't know what the rules are. They're quarreling amongst each other. It didn't come to fisticuffs, really. But if they don't have their act together, and if they're both saying, well, I'll tell my chief to call your chief. Oh, yeah, my chief can beat up your chief. My dad can beat up your dad. Oh, my dad can beat up your dad. Wasn't that a childish thing? So, I mean, I'm obviously sympathetic to the church-going cops there who still believe in the Charter of Rights and no warrantless search and seizure. I mean, I can tell you what sign I'm on there, but the fact that this quarrel is happening at all shows what a failed state Ontario has become, and frankly, not just Ontario. Alberta, where you have judges storming into churches, not judges, cops storming into churches. How's the public supposed to know what the right thing to do is? These cops say do this, these cops say do that. These cops say we'll stop you for no reason or any reason. These cops say, oh, no, we would never do that. But they're changing all the time, and the politicians are changing all the time, and the ordinary cop doesn't know what to do because they're built to fight crime, not to check for masks. What a failed state. Update, 1,764 watching on YouTube, 2,567 watching on Rumble. And Efron tells me that the problem with Odyssey was on their end. Efron, thanks for trying to get that done. We're all still figuring this out. Even Odyssey is still figuring things out. I just like those guys, that's all. And I like the Rumble guys too. Okay, let's whip through the Super Chats. Jay's pick, $20. My job will not let me work and school due to exercise my rights. I'm not wearing a mask. I had an elderly man almost punch me in my face for not wearing a mask. Is there any help you can give me to fight back this mass hysteria? Oh, that's one. And New World Order is so scary. We have a few sites. Could we go to unmask.ca? Unmask.ca. This is a page that shows you how to file a human rights complaint in all 14 Canadian jurisdictions. You see those jurisdictions there? All the provinces, all the territories, and federally. So click on Ontario, just for example, because that's the biggest province. So this page, you click on it. Here's an example complaint. Here's how to file a complaint. Here's where to submit it. Here's where to send it. Scroll down a bit more. Here's a sample form for your reference. Looks like it's just loading on the screen there. But we actually fill out a sample form. It's just not loading on that page quickly there. We fill out a sample form for all 14 jurisdictions, actually one or two of them. They don't have a form, you have to call them and they'll help. But the reason we have this site, go back to one more page, thank you. You just go to unmask.ca if you please. You don't need to pay for a lawyer. You don't need to hire a lawyer to file a human rights complaint. So what we did, we've got the Fight the Fines program, as you know, where we give you a lawyer to fight against a ticket. But this unmask.ca page, scroll down a bit please, shows you how to do it yourself. Whatever province or territory you're in. So if you are getting harassed because you have you won't wear a mask, you may have a human rights complaint. And so we walk you through how to do it here. So that's one of my answers for you. Sverig donated $10. Thank you. Kane Enmark, $3. I cannot figure out how to use the Rebel Chat on Rumble. It's so easy on YouTube. Well, YouTube has a bit of a head start and a few more bucks. And they got the kind of walking around money where they'll give $200,000 to someone to say, you are so good at free speech, really. You know, I think YouTube is probably the world's largest censor, the world's most prolific censor of video. How could they not be? They censor countless things. Countless. Probably, I mean, They would probably tell you. They probably censor 1 million things a day. Most of the censoring is done not even by a human. It's done by AI. Imagine giving the world's most prolific censor a free speech award. And all Susan had to do was pay for it. I say again, you want to buy yourself flowers, chocolates, or even, I think it would be weird to send yourself a card. But to pretend someone sent you flowers, oh, look at that, what a surprise, I've got a secret admirer. No, Susan, you don't have a secret admirer. No, Susan, oh, Muffin, you know that's not real, right? You know that if you have to pay for it, it's not real, right? You know that, right? I'll keep reading. SVG Gang Studios, $3. Ezzy, we may not always agree, but that's the great thing about being men. We can still support each other, or out of you. Glad to see your wise elder face back on my TV and hearing all the greatest country on earth, Canada. Well, thank you very much. Annalisa S., nice to hear from you again, $5. Great to see your followers increase on Rumble. Yeah, I like it. Trina Canadian, $1.25. Where is the Andrew picture in the background? Well, you know what? This is the first time I've seen. Yeah, you know, we got to tweak it, but I'm grateful. Because we got some new talent, and I don't want to block people. And that's just that. Let's be honest. That's appalling. That's appalling. Is it a fan favorite? Dre is just absolutely wonderful. Catherine just joined us. Who am I blocking there? Am I blocking anyone? And I mean, Avi's just that's a nice picture of Avi, isn't it? It looks like he's wearing a suit. And of course, David's just looking so sharp. That's my tie. I want to let you know that about half the ties that David wears are my ties. Now, you'd say, Ezra, when's the last time you wear a tie? That's what, I don't mind. I don't mind. But he just wears, like we got this rack here of tie, got about 20 ties on it. I think all but like 2 of those ties, they're my ties. But it's true, I don't wear them. So, I mean, and he looks sharp, he looks good in the tie, doesn't he? I'm glad, I should wear ties also. But that is my tie. Just want to let you know. Very simple tie. You know, I think the rule of, fellas, there's not a lot of ways that a fella can express himself. And a tie is one of them, but you don't want to be too crazy. You don't want to be too crazy. You can wear a green tie on St. Patrick's Day. If you're Irish, wear a green tie. I approve. But you don't want to wear crazy colors on the ties, I don't think. I think the only place a fella can express himself in a crazy way is in cufflinks. Because that's sort of a curiosity. Oh, what's that? Ho, 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 ho. I've seen the craziest cufflinks. But most people don't wear cufflinks because you got to get those French cuff shirts, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole other operation, and it takes time. Fellas have to wear ties like that. They have to wear the simple red and blue tie. I used to wear blue suit, blue shirt, blue tie. Slightly different shades, and I felt like I was slipping through the world. People were not focused on what I dressed. They listened to what I had to say. I think a fella does not want to stand out if he's dressed up. Now, some people do. They want to do ta-da, whereas women, I think, generally want to be conspicuous and unique. I don't know many guys who want to dress unique. I think the whole idea, like, look at it. Why is it that the 2 guys wear, blue suit, blue suit jacket? Because guys just want, they don't even want to stand out for their clothes. I just want to throw you one thing. I was telling my little one this. I saw a study, like I'm talking an academic study, about the different reactions that men and women have to guys riding a unicycle. Have you ever seen a guy riding a unicycle, Efron? Yeah, like other than at a circus. Have you ever seen a guy? This study, I should dig it up. Because people are going to say, Ezra, you're making this up. No, I read the study. Women are intrigued by a man on a unicycle. Guys hate men on a unicycle. That's not an opinion. That is an academic study. And there's a lot of different explanations for that. I think it's like a male feminist thing. Real guys hate male feminists because they see them as tricksters. I think a guy on a unicycle, Other guys say, what's he up to? What's the trick? What's the con? But girls are like, whoa, a guy on a unicycle. That's so, what's going, like I think that the reaction to someone on a unicycle, other than at a circus, is completely split along gender lines. I could be wrong on this, but I think I've got the science behind me. We're going to set the unicycle story aside for now, Efron, and we'll come back to it another day. I'm going to prove it to you. I think, are you skeptical of me? Are you skeptical of my unicycle story? Are you serious? You found it? Put it on the screen. We must teach the people. I think people were probably saying, Ezra, first of all, it's irrelevant. Second of all, there's no newsworthiness there. Third of all, can you talk about this is it. This is the study. You found the study. And was this in the British Medical Journal? This is a serious study, right? Scroll up a bit. What page is it? Yeah. This is a serious, like this is not some kooky thing. Sex, aggression, and humor. Responses to unicycling. This is what I'm talking about. I'm going to read it. I can't believe you found it. This is a real study. I'm going to read this. This is going to change your life. Can change your view of the world. After retiring from a busy university department in Newcastle upon Tyne, I've been there. It's lovely. And with the time and the need for more than the usual consultancies, I was able follow some of my more extreme inclinations. As a cyclist, I had occasionally thought of using more or fewer wheels. But it was only when choosing a grandson's gift that I got seriously lost in contemplation of a gleaming chrome unicycle. My wife said, buy the bloody thing, which I did on the whim of the moment. After months of practice at home, I graduated to back streets, a small paved park, and finally town roads. I couldn't avoid being noticed. In turn, I couldn't avoid observing the form that notice took. Because at the time there were no other unicyclists in the area, such sightings would have been exceptional. Yet I soon found that the responses to them were stereotyped and predictable. I realized that this indicated an underlying biological phenomenon and set about its study. Methods. As I had no idea what the phenomenon was, my reservoir of multipurpose preconceptions could not provide a testable hypothesis. Instead, I needed simply to observe neutrally the response to the unusual stimulus of unicycling administered reproducibly. I therefore wore the same bland tracksuit, trainers, and facial demeanor, and I rode neutrally with no attempt to entertain. So that's that was the controlled like he controlled all the variables, right? He didn't dress differently. He wasn't like stunting. He wasn't like calling out to people or aggressively interacting. Oh, you got to get it back up there, Efron. I got to read the rest of the story. I observed closely for just over a year, recording details of the responses and those who made them, estimated age, relationships, and class from dress, speech, and behavior as soon as possible. Subsequently, I only recorded new responses or significant variants. I collected written recordings from more than 400 people. Would you say this is science or a form of science? I would. Observe response. Less than 5% of people, mostly elderly men, women, and teenage girls, showed no reaction. And that's true. I mean, wouldn't you have a reaction? I know what I would say. About 1 to 2% of people expressed anger, distaste, or fear of collision, mostly elderly women and some men walking with sticks. I think I would, I don't have a lot of time for unicyclists. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a bit of a unicyclophobe. More than 90% of people showed a physical response from an exaggerated stare or acknowledgement to a wave, nod, smile, or show of mock surprise and fear, which reflected any remarks made. Almost 50% of those encountered, more often men than women, responded verbally. Box. The sex difference in the type of response was striking. This is my point. This is my point, Efron. around 95% of responses from women praised, encouraged, or showed concern. And women made few comic or snide remarks. Don't hate the player, play the game. You want to play the game. Capital G. Become a unicyclist. And it's like you get through every BS detector. All of a sudden, women are throwing you their hotel keys, Ezra. It's like Tom Jones. There's something about the unicycle that makes women lose their mind. In contrast, only 25% of the comments made by men indicated praise, appreciation, and neutrality, whereas 75% were attempts at comedy, often snide and preferred combatively as a put down. You see, guys know what's cooking. Equally striking was their repetitive nature, even though given as if original. Almost 66% of these comic responses refer to the number of wheels, the most common, the absence of handlebars, or a part having been lost or stolen. Less than 25% used less obvious snide humor, but often with stylistic repetition. Some remarks were fired off as if they had been rehearsed on approach. More often, people paused briefly while trying to formulate the response, which was sometimes delivered after I had passed. This pause to find a comic phrase contrasted with the immediacy and apparent spontaneity of the few laudatory remarks made by men, and many made by women. Some of the remarks showed combativeness and envy, such as, "Bet I could do better than that." Some verbal responses to unicycling. Early years, mother to son about 5 years. "Oh, look, why is he riding on one wheel?" Okay, skip ahead. Skip ahead to the early years, inquisitive, aggressive boys. "Do you want to knock him over?" "Yes, I bet I could do it." "Got a good target, Roddy." "Fall off, Granddad." "You got to fall off. You're going to fall off." But look at the women. "I love you. Do you have a girlfriend? Do you want one?" Okay, I made those up. "You make it look so easy. You should dress up as Santa for children. God, that must be difficult. Well done. Clever. Wonderful. I'm impressed. I love you. Magic. It is magic. You are an Olympic champion. I wish I could do that. Oh, men want to be you. Women want to be with you. I am in love. Mary, I want to have your children." But look at what men said. "Lost your wheel? Hey, do you know you've only got one wheel? I'll look for your other wheel. Couldn't you afford another wheel? You know you lost your handlebars. It's easier with no handlebars. Lost half your bike. Someone's pinched half his bike. There's part missing there. Where's the other bits then? You must like living dangerously. Odd things you find on cycles. And what were your other birthday presents?" And then you have a few beta males. "I'm envious. I couldn't do that. That's great. I wish I had a camera. That's good. What a star you are." Huh. Scroll down. Scroll, 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 scroll. Okay. A little bit up. A little bit up. Okay, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. A further change in male behavior was seen during the late teens. Aggression decreased. They tried to make disparaging jokes, which were sometimes incorporated into mocking songs. The female response was subdued during puberty and late teens. Scroll down. Discussion. This study observed the response to a sudden unexpected exposure to a new phenomenon, unicycling. The response to the stimulus was surprisingly consistent but varied with age, sex, and stage of sexual development. Young children were curious, but as boys grew older, their response became physically and verbally aggressive. As boys matured to men, their response became more verbal and evolved with the concealed aggression of humorous verbal put-down, which was lost with age. In contrast, the female response was praise and concern for safety. He talked about the study. Biological systems are often best defined by stimulation, blah, blah, blah. The physical responses, children, intrinsically funny. Ah, yeah. He relates it to testosterone. He's nailed it. You notice? He says all young children and all old people don't care about the unicycle. But if you are a man, what do I mean by a man? Someone with testosterone. If you're a real man, not a boy, not an old man, and not a woman. If you are a man, don't trust the unicycler. Do not trust the unicycler. The only place you can trust a unicycler is in a circus, in a controlled environment, but even then, it's like you're at a zoo. You're observing the unicycler in his natural habitat. You would not invite the unicycler over. And the unicycler is the one she told you not to worry about, am I right? Because all the women folk, they love them a unicycler. They go crazy for the unicyclers. These blah, blah, blah. The existence of an overwhelming sex difference inevitably raises the possibility of biological advantage, in particular whether male humor enhances female sexual preference. I'll tell you my conclusion. The response to the unexpected and novel stimulus of seeing a unicyclist was surprisingly consistent, even with the words and gestures used, and these varied with age, sex, and stage of sexual development. In males, the response moved from curiosity in childhood to physical and verbal aggression in older boys. This became more verbal as the boys matured and into men, and evolved into the concealed aggression of a repetitive humorous verbal put-down, which was lost with age. In contrast, the female response was praise and concern for safety. These findings suggest that humor develops from aggression in response to male hormones. Now, I see where he's going with this. He's saying, where does humor come from? Look at how the male sense of humor adjusts and how it's controlled. And there's a lot of truth there. Yeah, thanks very much. There's a lot of truth there. And I think I think that helps explain why there are a lot more men in comedy than women. And if I asked you to name the greatest comedian or the greatest 5 comedians or the greatest 10 comedians, I put it to you that you would probably not have many women in the top 10. Would you? Would you put Sarah Silverman in there? Maybe. Amy, what's her name? Schumer? I would used to, but not anymore. I think those are there are women comedians, but if I were to say, are they funnier than Chris Rock? Are they funnier than, who's the guy with all the Netflix specials just killing it lately? No. He actually has he's a black comedian, but he tells some conservative jokes. He's like an equal, I forget his name. The absolute comedy greats. Here's another way of doing it. Forget just stand-up. Look at the great comedy shows. Who's the anchor? Jerry Seinfeld. It's called Seinfeld. It's not called Elaine, although she was funny. Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. The anchors are guys. Because I think that comedy is a throttled form of aggression. I think that's right. But why? He explains the what, but he doesn't explain the why. He never explained why were they making fun of him. He explained how and what. Why were men mocking the unicyclists? Do you have a theory on that, Efron? Because they saw a trickster, scammer, hustler, and they saw the female reaction to it. And they said, whoa, 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 this guy has a move I don't have. This guy's using some trick. It's a prestidigitator. He's got some Jedi mind tricks. He's macking. And I think the reason that men were into the put-downs is they said, here's a threat. And I agree. Never trust a unicyclist. I'm a unicyclophobe. I won't lie. If I saw a guy unicycling down my street, I'd say, hide your wives, hide your girlfriends. That's what I would say. That was a very important study we just went through, Efron. Thank you for finding it. Where else are you going to find that? You're going to find that on the CBC? You're going to find that on CTV? You're going to find that in Post Media? No, you will not. If you want this kind of useful information, you got to go to Rebel News. Is there anyone left watching on any stream? Did I manage to scare everyone away? There's still a few people. We didn't scare everybody away. Still, I'm shocked. But now you know that. I think that is probably the world's most comprehensive study of unicycling and the reaction to it. Would you say 400 visits, 400 cases? But I think I have more study for him to do. Like, I appreciate what he's done, but he answers the what, but not the why. Annalise says, $5. Great to see your followers increase on Rumble. Thank you. Oh, I mentioned that one already. Beth donated $3. Good afternoon, Ezra. Have you thought of using the Twitch platform? Yeah, we have. We just did we? Have we? I think we have. We got to do more. We made an account. We got to get going on that. We got to do D Live or something. We got a few others. Yeah, let's try and get Twitch and D Live going. Steve, $5. Like your show from Ohio. Thank you, Steve. I know you wrote that before the unicycling half-hour mega special, super special marathon, unicycling marathon on rebelnews.com. You know, basically binge watching unicycle commentaries. It's not for everybody. Those who like it a lot. Chris donated $4 yesterday. The Saskatchewan government announced it will permit more visitors to care homes, but your loved one, plus 90% of the home's residents, must be vaccinated against COVID. Imagine the pressure on those elderly who don't want the vaccine. Saskatchewan is being so bizarre during this pandemic. They have so few cases, and they're acting as bad as a Quebec politician. MVP donated $5. Australia, I'm optimistic about the transition from the big tech platforms. We just need to be patient. Well, it's hard to be patient. I'm not built for that, but we are making the transition, and I thank you for your support. Scott, $2. I asked my doctor when all this COVID crap was going to be over. He said, how the hell am I supposed to know? I'm not a politician. Exactement. Today, Justin Trudeau announced he's booking vaccines into 2024. That suggests he thinks we're going to be in lockdown for 3 more years. Why would you doubt it? Bruce B. Justin Trudeau suffers from what doctors call type 1 diabetes. All right. A. Southey, $8. Total national deaths for 2019-2020 is approximately 13,000 more than the previous year, according to Canadian statistics. Year 2016 was also excess 13,000 deaths. Where was I for that pandemic? Yeah, and by the way, how many deaths are from drug overdoses, from missed cancer screenings, from postponed operations, from depression and suicide? The Lama, $16. I've received a court summons in Chatham, Ontario for organizing protests. Application is in. Fight the fines. Is it advisable to keep them going? We have a big one with Hillier and Sloan Monday. What could they do to me specifically? I don't want to give you legal advice, first of all, because I'm not a practicing lawyer. Second of all, I don't have any facts other than what you have on your screen here. But I believe any ban on gatherings, this is my own instinct, would violate the Charter of Rights. In fact, it's interesting, Quebec specifically does not ban gatherings. I think that is, so I know what I would do. I don't want to give you advice as a lawyer, but what I would do is I would keep protesting, because protesting in my mind is a charter right, and I think I would have a charter victory. But if you're in the fight the fine system, talk to one of our lawyers. As of 2 days ago, we have 977 people we're helping. 977. We'll hit 1,000 by Monday. Nurse for Freedom, $1.60. Ezra, when you are deleted from YouTube, no big deal since you have the other platforms. Rebel has lots of followers. I'm a subscriber to your paywall shows and enjoy them. I'm just wondering how many paywall clients do you have? Keep up the good work. You know what? The paywall is at a record high, thank God, and I appreciate you being one of those folks, because the $8 a month from being part of Rebel News Plus, it adds up, so thank you for that. Bracket Thor, $5 says, the week Rebel was suspended was the best I've had in a year. I was doing other things, comfortably blue-pilled and tuned out. That's the real menace of official narratives. It's so effortless for most people to submit. You're so right, and I myself was woken up. For example, the issue I've talked about today, the fact that YouTube has obviously been suppressing our live stream. I was sort of numb to that. John Yoga, Buck, hey Ezra, do you think all politicians are a bunch of folks who wanted to be in Hollywood but were relegated to politics instead? Well, it's a funny old saying, politics is showbiz for ugly people. I think there's a lot of truth there. C812OPR, $4, just reported Free Expression Award for it as spam or misleading. Hey, that's exactly right. That's deceptive. Career Albertan, $10. Hey Ezra, do you know anything about David Hawkins exposes Trudeau and Gates family video? I don't know anything about it. Mansfin, $1. Thank you. Koi 25. Thanks. Welcome back, Ezra. Looks like Super Chats are back too. Are they? God is with us donated $8. I know we use paper ballots to vote, but I wonder if the Canadian federal regime will be using the special Dominion voting machines. I heard they're going to have mail-in votes. So yeah, they're doing the Democrat playbook. Archetypic, $5. Thank you. Nathan, $5. What's the difference between suing through human rights versus small claims? Do I get money through human rights if I win? You can get money. You can get some sort of non-money order. The number one difference is you don't need a lawyer. You don't need to pay for a lawyer. And so it's designed to be more of a people's court, user-friendly. Korea, Albertan, $5. Almost forgot. If anyone wants to have some fun, go on BitChute and search banned from YouTube. Yeah, I bet. NBA donated $3. My brother rode a unicycle through high school. He could ride it up and down the 20 cement stairs. He's always been a blast to be with. Well, that's the thing. The unicycle rider is always the center of attention, like a juggler or other misfits, like a busker of some sort. And so you get that reaction from men. What that study showed us is who reacts to the unicyclist, but it didn't explain why. All the feelings I think men have towards unicyclists, they would have towards jugglers too. What do you think of that? Do you think my theory is right? In my mind, a juggler and a unicycle rider are the same kind of guy. And it's really a rivalry thing because all the women are watching, ooh, he's so good. Why can't you do that? And that makes the guys go, grrr. That's the why. Don't trust a juggler. Well, you can trust a juggler because that can just be a sport or a hobby or like a Rubik's Cube solver. Don't trust a unicycler. Could you know what? I bet your brother was the center of attention. When I was in high school, I had nothing to set me apart other than I had this really weird car. It was at Google, Checker Marathon. Can you Google it? I have my parents, this was before minivans, so I'm talking late 70s, early 80s. There were no minivans back then. Minivans were an 80s thing. So in 1979 or 1978, my father bought one of those old New York City style cabs called a Checker Marathon. Yeah, that one on the top right, that might actually be the one I drove. Yeah, you click on that one. Yeah, so we had a 1979 one that was gray like that, and then we had a 1981 with a vinyl roof. So I drove that thing to high school in grade 12 and to college. How much fun is that, Efron? It's not but as you could see, they really were New York, like all the cabs in New York and Chicago were these kind of cabs, right? Now they're all Priuses. But back then, that's what the cabs were like. But my dad bought one as the family mobile, and they have little jump seats, little seats that fold. Like it's got an enormous, add one more word, Checker Marathon back seat. And I know that sounds weird, but the back seat is so enormous, you're not even, you see that? You see that second row of little chairs that pop up there? And you see they fold, you see in the middle there, you see how they fold down? Like in the bottom middle there. Yeah, exactly. They fold. So you're sitting there, if there's 2 or 3 years, and you got a big family, I was one of 4 kids, you fold those up, and they were fun to sit on. Obviously no seatbelts on them. And there was such a huge backseat, so I had that car in high school. That was the closest I was going to get to being a unicycle rider, was my car. Hey, whatever you got, right? Cochito ergo sum, if DC becomes a state, it will create an imbalance in the Senate. To rebalance, do you think a sweetheart deal for Alberta to come into the unions in the future? Well, that would be great. I don't think they'll let DC in because I think it's against the Constitution. I think. But I think Alberta would join America right now. Absolutely. I mean, why stick around in Canada? Most of the Canadian political establishment hates Alberta. I'm not saying most Canadians hate Alberta, but the political system does. The courts, the NGOs, the academia, the cultural industries, the parliament, the Senate, every instrument of government does. The regulators. So yeah. Humongous $4. Cracking up over how true and accurate the unicycle study is, I caught myself thinking about how dumb unicycling is just thinking about the scenario. But if you could do it, would you think it was dumb? If you could unicycle, I bet you would unicycle more than you think you would. but you would be that guy. You would be that guy. And you would have very few male friends. But maybe you're not in the market for male friends. Maybe you want hundreds of female friends. You're going to be knocked off that thing by some guy one day. You're going to be knocked off it. But then you'll get all the sympathy. Oh, are you okay, baby? You okay? Let me kiss it better. Kevin 10 and $5 liberals suspended flights from India and Pakistan. Isn't that racist? Well, exactly. They said we weren't supposed to call it the China virus, but now they're picking on India and Pakistan. And Lisa, $4. Thank you, Ezra, for lending your ties to Menzies. It just makes him even cuter. Laugh out loud. See, you put Menzies on a unicycle, that guy's unstoppable. Unstoppable. You know, as I was saying to Yankee Pollock today, what, 7.5 billion people in the world? How many people in the world now? It's a lot. There's someone for everyone. And Annalisa, your comments about David Menzies should be encouragement to every man out there. You can find someone. I'm kidding around. David, of course, is a married man. I've had the pleasure of meeting Lady Menzoid. All right, I'm going to call it quits because it's 1:20, and I didn't get to all 5 of the clips, but I think we got to go, right? Efron, do we have time to play a Yankee clip, or do we really got to go? Okay, we're going to end with the Yankee clip. So Yankee goes out on the streets of Montreal to cover the curfew, to cover how police enforce it. I've seen a few of his clips. I'm not sure which one this is, but I'll end on this clip. Thanks for watching both the 1,285 folks currently on YouTube and the 1,899 on Rumble. And I heard that Odyssey had a problem on their end. So that Efron, thanks for trying to figure that out in real time. I really like having all these different forums, and it gives me tremendous confidence. It's like a safety net, and then a safety net under the safety net, and then one under that. If YouTube gives us the boot, which I think they will because they're liberal censors, hey, maybe we should give them a free speech award. Efron, what do you think of that? Maybe if we have the Rebel News Freedom of Speech Award for people who really, really deserve it, and no, we're not just saying that. So it's a long name. If we gave that to YouTube, do you think they would let us stay on the channel? The Free Speech Award for really great people, and we're not just saying that. Might be worth a try. All right, I'm going to say goodbye now. Thanks, everybody. Efron, thanks for your work. I'll say goodbye, but we'll leave you. When Justin's in the chair, we always have a dog video, but we'll leave you with something even more gripping, Yankee Pollock on the streets of Montreal at night. See you later, everybody.
What?